Tone's importance to poetry is that it's a direct link to theme. Okay? You add it to some figurative language and you can get to a theme. Obviously, if the author has a negative attitude towards a subject, then the theme is not going to be positive. That doesn't make any sense. And then it's friend mood. Okay. Okay, I want everybody to put your pens down for a couple minutes because I'm going to go through thinking about something and then you're going to watch. And also, we're going to acknowledge something very quickly here. Obviously, in a poem and in poem and in literature, whatever, poetry and in general literature, obviously there are multiple tones and multiple moods and multiple themes that can be taken out of anything, right? Which is why when you're writing about literature, that's a lot easier, right? Because you can use textual evidence to justify your case, and they can't fail you because that was my cue to be done talking. Obviously, they can't penalize you for being able to thoroughly justify your thoughts. So that's the positive part about the writing section on any test. However, the multiple choice is a bit of a conundrum, especially when it comes to poetry, right? Obviously, in some respects, you have to think like the test maker, right? So even if you're like, I could really make an argument for all of these answer choices, you need to think about the one that the test maker actually wants you to answer, right? And that's a finite sort of nuanced skill that you just have to develop. And it's all about seeing patterns in tests and all about seeing relationships between answers and answer choices, between that poem and the answer choices that you have. And that's the skill that you need to cultivate. But however, just want you to get over it right now because it's not going to change. When you get to college, you'll be hard-pressed. I don't think you'll ever meet an English professor that will give you a multiple choice test on a poem. They would lose their minds. I actually think it hurts deep parts of their souls. Okay? It's all writing-based, which is good, right? Because then it's more open to interpretation. But on an AP exam and on your CA, you're going to get a poem, and they're going to ask you what I think are very subjective questions, and you're going to have to think like the test maker. Right? That's just the way it goes. It's the way of life in high school. But somebody who spent their life getting a PhD in English literature is not going to give you a multiple choice test because that would take the fun out of it, right? But for now. So I'm acknowledging that for you, and now we may move on. Remember this image, right? Tone from the head, mood from the heart. Remember my little guy? It's a very long time for you to build. Okay. So we're going to revisit Dorothy Parker real quick, and I'm going to walk you through how I would use what I just taught you to think about a poem on a multiple choice test. Okay. So here's a revisit to Dorothy Parker, one of my favorite poets. If you're lucky enough to know the style of poetry or the type of poem that an author on a test is used to writing, then you already got a clue to probably what the poem's going to be about. I happen to know that Dorothy Parker writes a lot about love, so that's her favorite thing to write about. So I read the poem. Well, first I note my stanzas, right? So this is the whole poem. It's 2 stanzas. Each stanza has 4 lines. I can bet, because poetry always has a shift, that there's a shift right here. Because I only have 2 stanzas, so obviously a shift has to occur somewhere. The natural point for it to occur is after the first stanza. So, once when I was young and true, someone left me sad. Broke my brittle heart in 2, and that was very bad. Love is for unlucky folk, love is but a curse. Once there was a heart I broke, and that I think is worse. So I look at the form. 4 lines, they rhyme, every other line rhymes. So I'm in an A-B pattern. The one thing rhyme gives me a clue to is that the only reasons authors make things rhyme is so that they're easy to remember, right? This is nursery rhymes, mnemonic devices, all that stuff, right? Doesn't actually give you any clues into any meaning. However, it can serve as a juxtaposition between the seriousness of a topic and the sing-songy quality of the poem. So in this case, this topic, very serious, right? What's it about? Love sucking. It's about love being a bad thing. Right? But it's got this sing-songy quality to it that sort of hides an inner meaning, which is that she loved somebody, they broke her heart, and then she turned around and broke someone else's heart because of her broken heart. But the sing-songy quality of this poem that sounds like a nursery rhyme hides that. And it creates this like very awkward juxtaposition for the reader. There was something else I wanted to mention. Oh, the repetition. Obviously, I have an idea as to what the tone towards love is of this author, because she uses words like sad, bad, brittle, broke, broke again, unlucky, curse. The diction has given me a very big clue as to what the author's tone is towards this. There are no positive words in this poem, unless you count love as a positive word, or young and true, right? But everything she uses to describe love and her reactions towards love are negative. So diction is a very big clue to tone. Remember that. Diction, huge clue towards tone. Are there any questions over this poem? So I saw a lot of you in the Do Now put melancholy, sad as the tone. That is true. Depressed. That is true. Okay. And also a lot of you got the inner meaning of this poem is that love sucks. Got it? Any questions, comments, concerns?
Is diction part of form?
Yeah. Because any form is basically everything about how the words look on the page. So since diction is about words, then it's about how the words look on the page. But I said before earlier this year that diction was a big clue to tone. Always. It holds the most true probably in poetry. Any other questions? Okay. Great. Now I'm done talking for today, for the most part. Jeez, I love you too, Roman. Oh, your turn to talk, okay? Partner on the right. If you don't have a partner on the right, turn and talk to somebody around you, okay? One of the partners, I want you to tell the other partner everything you just learned in 10 seconds. Go. Okay, you're done. Partner on the right, did you get or partner on the left, did you get everything for partner on the right? Cool. Partner on the left, tell your neighbor why what they just learned is important.
Like the author.
Your brain hasn't gone up yet. Alright. And you're done. Sweet. I heard a lot of good stuff as I walked around. I won't make you repeat it. You're welcome. Okay? Here's what you're doing next though. Oh, okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Flip the page over. I'm going to put 7 minutes on the board. In 7 minutes, you're going to work with your group. If you are in a group of 3, work together. If you're in a group of 4, work together. If you're a pair, sorry, Kimberly and Brenda O'Johnny, you feel free to join them or the ladies in front of you. Whichever you prefer. You're going to work for 7 minutes on this poem, answering the questions in the margins. Right? Together, you're going to come up with a theme statement. Then, for 2 minutes, we're going to discuss it as a class. I'm going to ask some people to answer some questions. We're going to talk about it. Then, to make sure you got it and to expose you to what this will look like on the CA, I'm going to put up 2 multiple choice questions. You're going to answer them. We're going to talk about this. Capiche? All right. Any questions? Okay. Cindy, what are we doing? What questions? Where are they gonna be? Very good. Right. 7 minutes, go forth and prosper about that.
I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar bells play, and wild and sweet the words of peace on earth, good will to men. And thought how, as the day had come, their belfries of Priscilla had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, good will to men. Till ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day. A voice had come, a chance upon.
You only have 7 minutes, and I'm not extending the time.
Then from each life achieved a first one. The cannon fell into the sound, and with the sound of bells drowned, peace on earth, good will to men. It was as if an earthquake rent the hearthstones of a continent, and made forlorn the households one of peace on earth, good will to men. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said. For hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, good will to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor God peace is dead. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail. With peace on earth, good will to men.
Wait, the song?
We're up to the good one.
There's probably a battle going on. Those are, I guess it's still changing because
Yeah.
Wait, not this one.
Focus. You only got 4 more minutes.
Well, for the last one? Yeah. Yeah.
3.5 minutes.
There is no peace on earth.
We're gonna be that whole line. Just peace and
I tried to see so many groups discussing.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe? Yeah? Okay. She's I mean, you could have just done a little math, but